already know what's going on. It's Putting in TV. I'm Simone.
I'm C the Server.
And I'm Twix.
And we are the collective. As you can see, we have a special guest. This is Twix. And this is all her brand and all the things she makes. And it's so pretty, guys.
Yay. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm really grateful to be here, and I appreciate everything that you guys do for artists in the community and giving them this platform. So this is dope.
Thank you.
So what you got? Because I see pussy over there.
Yeah, so
why you jump into that?
This is High Queen, and High Queen is a brand dedicated to creatives who smoke weed, especially queens. And when I say queens, I mean black women, black femme. And this is a brand that I created during the pandemic. I was one of those people that were outside all the time, from 6 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, then jump right back up. And when the pandemic happened, I was at home all day. And I was like, dang, what can I do with my time? And I started getting on social media and stuff like that. And I saw resin, and I was like, well, I smoke, and I can dabble in making ashtrays. And then it turned into the message of why I smoke. And I started researching what cannabis is and how it affects your brain and how to grow it and all the things that it can be used for. And I really just wanted to start spreading that message in my community, especially amongst people that are creatives, because we can use weed to help us create our art. And then I started learning how to grow weed, and it was just a great progress of seeing how much from the earth it is, and how we can use that to channel so many things. So then I started doing markets and selling the ashtrays that I made, and then I started vending and meeting a lot of people. And a lot of my friends do music, a lot of my friends do poetry, and I just had an idea of let's get high as shit and just share our art in a community form. And then I started curating events, and it became a great thing for my community, and people started buying my ashtrays and smoking over them and having conversations over them, and then I got my online shop, and now I'm sending ashtrays all over the place, all over the world, and it's so amazing. I've met so many great people, and we want black women and black creatives to be a part of this industry. This is $1 billion industry, and so many of our people are still incarcerated for cannabis related charges. So it's just let's get into this industry. Let's get our piece of that pie. Let's talk about cannabis laws and grow laws in DC and in Maryland that are changing and making so many strides, and get a piece of that. Smoking weed that we grow that's healthier for us. They put a lot of chemicals in weed nowadays to grow their yield and things like that. So just spreading that education, creating art, and smoking weed, and it's just it's been great. It's been great.
A lot of points right there. So I got a lot of questions
it's been great.
off that one thing. But let's start off with something ignorant. When niggas start cleaning that ashtray, right? Are they able to find what a clit is?
Hopefully.
Most niggas don't.
Because this is a part of art form, I also like to use my art to empower, especially women that smoke, because women that smoke get such a bad stigmatization, and especially moms that smoke. We are professional women, and what we do in the comfort of our own home is our business. And it's just people are so gung-ho on drinking alcohol, but smoking a plant is so bad. We just kind of want to destigmatize it and empower our vaginas, empower our asses, empower ourselves, and definitely my pieces are so bold because I want to start those conversations on cannabis and whatever it is. So it's you may buy my ashtray because it's a vagina, but then like you said, explore this vagina. Have a conversation while you're smoking, and
baby,
have it become something where I'm smoking weed, but I'm also growing my mind, and I'm also exploring all these things. So it gets into a lot, and I feel people should recognize cannabis as a part of the ritual, as a part of who you're smoking with, and things like that. But I didn't ask, do y'all smoke?
No. I used to, but I stopped.
And
I don't smoke, but I do edibles.
Okay.
I'm an edibles person. I like where the high is. I like where the high is, and I'm a type of guy. If I'm fucked up, I'm gonna get more fucked up. So I like not knowing where I'm going.
Oh my god.
I feel like
risk
people.
takers.
I feel like people who smoke like y'all pussies for real, cause that's no pun intended.
Oh my god.
But
No for real?
y'all be like
No way.
controlling where y'all go. Nah, if y'all gonna do it, let's do it all the way. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my gosh.
But as far as growing, right? How hard was it trying to find the seeds and find a supplier for seeds?
I actually learned how to grow weed from a black woman here in DC, and her company is called Grow with Lisa, and she's an amazing home grower in DC, and she really like helps me learn like the laws and legislation of like growing weed in DC, and now like being able to gift it and like I-71. So it's just like there's lots of things that like you can learn and be a part of legally with cannabis now in DC. So like that was the easy part. And she introduced me to so many other women that were in this industry that are in our city that we can support and like buy our weed from black women and like not major dispensaries and things like that. And buying it homegrown and like seeing the difference of like me getting this quality of weed from Ray down the street or like me having like homegrown Indo, like the different terpenes and things like that it's just a different experience. And like smoking that quality of weed and like really channeling that in your body can be like so beneficial for like your brain and things like that. So I'm just saying, like, buying weed from a black woman is a great thing. And it wasn't hard finding like seeds and like because it is a community for that in this city. So there were people that were just happy to help me and like happy to teach me things, and then it's just like continuing that education. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you like reside in Maryland or DC?
I live in Maryland.
I was gonna say, with that being said, we have a black governor now.
Yes.
The whole, do you really think he's gonna change the cannabis laws, or you think he's just talking?
Hopefully. I feel like he's not gonna have a choice. In July 2023, you now can home grow up to 4 plants in Maryland, and like it's being decriminalized in so many ways. So it's just like they're not gonna have a choice but to jump on board, and that's where like black businesses now with this new door opening, like let's floodgate it so that we can be a part of that community.
Right.
Okay. Now, you said you came about curating your own events by, just having friends, right? So with your friends being creatives, how hard is it to navigate your business and, the music side as well? Because they do go hand in hand, but at the same time, it may get tricky there.
That's a good question. I feel like just like the relationships that I built with people have just been really genuine, and like I am kind of like a vibes person, so it's like if I know you, like we can do business, but it's really important to like stay professional. Like you're not texting me or DMing me, I'm going to send you an email, and like it's going to have all the terms and things like that with my availability, and here's what I expect from you as an artist, and here's what I can offer to you, and like I want to help you like elevate your artistry in whatever way. But
so these rappers be trying to get at you? They be in your DMs?
No, they don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think I just give a no vibe, and like so they don't. And like
because I know rappers and I know what they try to do. So
my friends.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah. No, not like that.
Hey,
oh my God, please. No, not like that. But like I said, because I have that line off the break of professionality, it's just like nobody, and I appreciate that, honestly. Like I feel like the people that I've been around in DC are just like amazing black men that like are now learning so many things and like showing respect, and like I really appreciate like that growth. But no.
I was gonna say, I see you have a book here. So this is the book that you've put in, like, this is when you smoke You smoke your weed. You just be like, you do this, you do that.
This is the Inhale with Intention journal, and this is something that just came out on 4/20 of this year. And basically, this is a journal for higher vibrations. I'm also like a writer and a poet and an artist, and like I feel like a lot of the times when I'm trying to create art, I have to like. Not have to, but like I choose to smoke first and then start brainstorming that. So this is a good place for that. It's also like a cannabis log. So you would like log in the strain that you're smoking. So like you can keep track of which strain works best for your body, whether it's an indica or a sativa or a hybrid. How much of it did you smoke? Did you face the whole J, or did you take like 6 inhales and like just saw where you were? It talks about how you smoked it, whether you rolled it up, whether you hit it in a bowl or a bong, because the way that you consume cannabis also affects your high. So just like taking a moment to think about how you're going to consume the cannabis, because if you take an edible, it's going to affect your body in a different way than if you smoke a blunt. Right. So like thinking that plays a factor in it, and keeping track of that is important. Doing a quick feelings reflection before you smoke, just like checking in with yourself, seeing where your body is tense, like how you're feeling. Are you stressed? Is it after work? Like, are you going through relationship problems? Like, just like checking in with yourself, making sure you smoke, and then doing some breath work. Like, so taking like 3 deep inhales after you smoke, after like you reach that level of like, okay, I'm high now. And then checking in right after, saying like, now I'm high, now I've been in this moment and I've done the breath work. How am I feeling now? Am I less tense in that area where I was before? Am I like, fuck that job? Like, if I'm like, when I was just stressed about it, like, how am I feeling now? And then making sure that you're doing an art creation. You don't have to finish, but that's the best time to be creating something or brainstorming about creating something. When you're high, your brain experiences an increased level of blood flow, which is why like our eyes get red, because the blood rushes up here. So that's the best time to be brainstorming or creating, because your brain has all this creative activity going on. So like that's the best time to be brainstorming, creating, finishing a body of work, like whatever your art form is. If you're a painter, a dancer, a rapper, like making sure you're tapping into that creativity while you're high, while your brain is experiencing all that blood flow.
So with all this, it seems like you done did the work yourself. So which strain works best for you, and which way do you prefer intaking? I
prefer smoking like a raw hemp paper, just the weed. No funnel or anything like that. Nothing against my funnel users and from niggas from uptown that like to use a lot of funnel, but like, you know, just pure cannabis. And I also, like smoking a regular, just like roll a J, roll a blunt. And I feel like my favorite strains would be like LA Confidential, would be Dosey Does, and a strain that I grew myself, and it's called July, and like
you named
that's
it?
That's my favorite. Like,
your birthday in July?
Yes, Cancer.
I was gonna say you the girls in July, or it's your birthday's in July.
Okay.
I don't know much about horoscopes, but I believe you guys are toxic.
Cancers are the sweetest, most caring, nurturing people alive.
I don't believe that.
First
that's
of
how
all,
Cancers feel about themselves.
First of all, and y'all be hurting us, and that's why we're so sensitive.
I think
because of y'all.
I think it's the other way around. I think the Cancers be hurting the people, but you know. There's a lot of Cancers in my life. I feel like they be saying stuff to me. And I'm a Scorpio, so it's just gonna come back harder.
Oh my gosh, Cancers are.
So you got ashtrays, you got artwork, and you got your book, right? But I also saw that you do clothes as well.
I do.
Or you just started.
I just started getting into like clothing, and that's been really fun. Like I've been selling like tote bags, and I have like Inhale with Intention t-shirts, and I did want to shout out like my mom like makes all of my clothes, and she comes up with like really like cute slogans and designs, so I'm just like excited where like I could take this brand.
And you guys are still your bond is stronger now because
Yeah,
doing
yeah, and
things.
she's been like helping me with it, and she's like really into like helping my career and like whatever I want to do. And like she doesn't judge me and judge the fact that I smoke, because it's just like, Mom, you know the vibes, you know, I'm about to get high first and then we go into the mall. But it's just like, you know, she respects that and she respects my boundaries.
Do you have kids?
I do.
I was gonna say, because you mentioned about how moms.
I do. I have a daughter, and my daughter is older. She's 12, and like she understands what cannabis is. She understands that I consume it, and I feel like it's just like a good space for us to be transparent about like my relationship with it, and how everything that you indulge in life, you have to do it with intention, one, and
Right.
do it in a way that's helpful and like healthy for your body.
Right.
But like I also want to let like moms that smoke know that like it's okay, like just it's okay, just like a mom that takes a glass of wine at night.
Yeah.
Like it's the same as a mom that smokes a blunt at night for herself and her self-care.
So what age would you think would be appropriate for her to start using cannabis?
She says she will never use cannabis, which is like
That's that lie right
right.
there.
That's what you should tell your mom. But oh my gosh, I would say the first time that I like smoked weed, I was probably like, honestly, like 14.
Same.
And then like when I started like buying my own weed and like consuming it on my own, I probably was like 19, and I would just do it socially. But I guess I would say I would hope like 18, when you're like at that age where like you can possibly like make some smart decisions.
Really? Are you one of those type of parents, like you'd rather them do it in the house where you can monitor it?
I was
rather
gonna
than
ask
doing
that.
it out?
Oh my gosh, I had a couple of years to think about this.
No, you don't.
I know.
You're realistically in the DMV. The average
Right.
is about 14.
Yeah.
Right.
So even
And
though
if
she
she's
say
12.
she will never, right? Even though she say she will never, she's still gonna be tempted.
Right.
And you know it's a possibility.
No, here's the thing. I also don't smoke in front of my daughter, like ever. So even if like I still step outside or I'll step in our dinner or something away from her, and it's not a like, oh, I'm ashamed and I don't want her to see me doing it. It's more of just like I don't want to expose her to like the smell or the, you know, the things like that. So just like respecting her space, as if you don't want to be around this, like I'll respect the fact that you don't want to be around it. But so I would say like if she did consume, yeah, I would prefer her to like be using it intentionally and not just like I'm smoking because I'm with my friends or I'm smoking because I'm out. So if she's using it intentionally, then you would be using it for like self-care and to create and to meditate and things like that. So that would be when you are home. And it's another way that I can like keep an eye on her. So I guess I prefer
So
in-home.
you say, you know, your brand started from being in pandemic. Do you think if the pandemic never happened, this brand would still be here, or it would just be like you would never thought about doing this?
I probably would have never thought about doing this. Like when I think about like what I've done and what High Queen has like allowed me to do, I never would have done it like before. Again, like I said, I'm a Cancer and we're sometimes shy. And like I feel like I'm a very shy person. But when I started making this art, it was therapeutic for me. And then I started like having to sell it and having to interact with people. And then like people started asking me about like weed and ways to help them like be more intentional. And then I started making connections and making friends, and like that me like having an event and then having to host it and like having to stand up and like control the flow of this whole thing was something I never thought that I would have done.
Did you get the hang of it though?
I feel like no, like I still
Really?
get really nervous.
How many shows have you done?
I've done 10.
Oh, you've been popped your shit.
No, I've done 10, but like I do them like sporadically throughout the year. And I always have like a Halloween one and like one in February and a 421. But I feel like I'm getting better with it, and it's caused me to like share my music and my poetry. So that's been cool too.
Yeah,
it's just like sharing more.
We've seen a video or two. You do a really good job. With
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was put on a little late. Thank you. But it's fine. It's fine, but we put on now, so that's great. So as far as like when you see the big debate about athletes using cannabis, and what's your take on that? Do you think it does have a benefit to their bodies, and the NBA should take away that rule?
Yeah, I do. I feel like, again, like cannabis is medicine ultimately, and like that's what it was like used for originally. So if athletes go through a lot of like muscle pain and like just the stress of like being an athlete, like, you know, and again, I'm like, they can drink alcohol, but they can't smoke a blunt. Like, it just seems like really unrealistic. I do think they should like be able to take it away. Just like seeing in like how much trouble like Brittany Gartner got in for just having a vape pen is just kind of like.
See, that's Russia.
I know.
And it was at the peak.
Like, come on,
it was at the peak of we were
right
on the water, and it was like, yeah,
just
we
wrong
got
time,
her.
wrong
She
place.
fell for the trap.
Yeah.
Because if we would be real, if she was from Russia, they wouldn't have did it.
Yeah,
They-
that was a
they-
lot.
she
I
kinda-
felt so bad for her.
She kind of just fell for the trap because we were all in that mix. That's how I feel.
But
she
she had an
home?
oil pen, right? She had an oil pen.
Yeah,
do you
it's
do you do
good.
oil as well?
Yeah, I've done it before. I prefer like consuming the flower, but like I've done like almost everything except for dabs. I haven't done dabs.
What was the
It's on my
most?
bucket list.
What's the most exotic? What was your best and worst experience?
My best experience was smoking a blunt at Great Falls and on like
Okay.
Miami Beach. And like that's something that's like a goal of mine as I get older. I want to like visit like historic places in the United States and around the world and smoke a blunt there.
Yeah, you're a scenery person.
Yeah, and it's just about like the vibes around you and how like you can channel all of that in just that moment. So that's what I really enjoy like doing while I'm high. My worst experience is probably with edibles, I would say. Like edibles just like take you to a dark place sometimes. And I remember like taking like a chocolate bar
Oh, you fucked
edible
up.
and like I thought it was 30 milligrams, but like it ended up being like 300 milligrams or something. I thought it was 30 milligrams
Oh, like per
per, but it was like per piece or something, and I took the whole bar, and I was just like stuck on the couch, and I was just like crying. I was in the sunken, like how when he like had that single tear, just stuck in the couch in the sunken place, and I was like, when is this gonna be over? And I was stuck there for like, I thought it was like 30 minutes, it was like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
That stuck be real.
Yeah, it
That
does.
stuck be
I
real.
was like, dang, I cannot move, and this is not fun anymore.
I was
And it's one of
high.
those, God, if you get me down, I ain't gonna smoke no more. But like, you know, yeah, I
I
feel
was
like
high
edibles.
one time, but it felt good for me. But I was high one time, literally texting, and I was staring at the one message for like an hour. And that's when I realized that it was just too much for me. Like I was done.
No.
And you didn't reply?
No, I never replied.
I
I just clicked off and said, forget it.
Oh my
Like,
God. I also want to talk about that. And like people always say they have bad experiences with smoking weed and that's why they don't smoke anymore. And my best friend in the whole wide world doesn't smoke.
that's your best friend.
Yeah, so it's just like, and shout out to Shanzi. She does like all my flyers for my events and she's always there like rooting me on. But yeah, like she doesn't smoke, and like when we're together, like we're going out, like I'm smoking my blunt, and like she's there beside me, but it's like she doesn't partake in it. And some people have like bad paranoia when they smoke, or like they go to like really dark places and like stay there. And like, it's just not for them. It's just not for them. And like, I feel like you have to know your weed boundaries. Like, what is the level for you? And if weed just like affects your body in a different way. But I also feel like inhaling with intention helps with that, because if I know like, okay, this blunt is dedicated to me writing a poem. Like when I smoke the blunt, I'm not gonna be thinking about like, oh my God, is the stove on? Oh my gosh, like did I lock the door? I'm gonna be thinking about that poem because I've already channeled my energy before I smoke the blunt. I already know like what this is dedicated to. So I feel like that sometimes help. But then if it doesn't, then that's okay. Like, you know, just know your boundaries.
What about when rappers say they gotta, you know, use whether it be codeine or they have to be in a certain mind state in order to create? Do you believe that, you know, that helps?
Yeah, I honestly does feel like it helps, but I feel like it should be done like in a healthy way. But because of the way that like cannabis affects your brain and your body, that is a great time for you to do it. I wouldn't like use it to the point where like you can't create without it, because then that kind of desensitizes your body and like takes away that opportunity. And I also feel like taking tolerance breaks is important. Like I personally smoke weed every day, but like every 3 months I take like a 30-day tolerance break where I like take that away from my body and see that I'm still able to regulate, see that like how am I feeling without it? It's been 7 days without weed. Like I'm having nightmares and stuff like that. Like just making sure that I'm checking in with my body when I don't have it. There's no reason for me not to smoke, which is why I do it. But like making sure that your body is in a healthy relationship with anything, not just weed, but like with anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say when people be like, "Oh, you're still like a drug addict because weed is still a drug." How do you feel about that?
I feel like there are drugs that like pharmaceuticals prescribe to people all the time that are much more like harmful than weed. Me actually like being a part of the growing process and seeing it start as a seed and then me putting it in dirt and then me giving it light and sun and seeing it grow and then being able to smoke it is just like, I didn't do anything to it. It's just a plant. If I can eat a tomato vegetable, then and that's okay for me to ingest in my body, then I feel like this is the same way. Actually seeing that process and knowing that it grows like every other plant, and also knowing that it can be used as medicine. So it's just like, you know, that whole part of it, like being a drug or being a gateway. I feel like that's all a part of your choices. And if you're inhaling with a certain intention, then it shouldn't become that for you.
Okay. So with your ashtrays, how do you go about making these? Like, do you just personally make them and craft them hand-wise?
Yeah, I do. So with resin, I use like epoxy resin. And basically you have the epoxy and you have the resin and they both start in liquid form and you mix them together. And once you mix them together, you have to make sure they're mixed like really, really thoroughly. And it can you should do it like with like ventilation, like with your doors open and stuff like that and like with gloves on. And then while it's in a liquid, you have 30 minutes like before it starts to harden and become like hard like this. Really? And in that 30 minutes, I add like the colors and the pictures and like whatever I add. And you also make them upside down. So like the molds are like this way and you pour it in from this way. So I actually don't know what it's going to look like until the next day. And it takes 18 to 24 hours for it to be completely like hardened and able for you to use. So like it takes like a long time, a lot of energy and thought. But as I'm doing it, like I'm smoking, I'm listening to music and like I'm thinking of ways that I can like make art that could be a talking piece for like all of these conversations.
Got you. Okay, so when you're making those, right? If I ask you for an order, how quick can you get that to me?
I can get it to you. I said it takes like 18 to 24 hours. So like I can get it to you within the next like 24 hours. On the High Queen Instagram page, there's like a commission form in the bio. And then you can put like whatever picture you want on the inside there, upload it. Tell me what colors you want, whether you want gold flakes or flowers or whatever. And all of those options are able to be selected in the form. And then once I get it, and you make a 50% deposit. Don't forget that 50% deposit. Sure. Then I'll immediately get started. And then, again, it takes 18 to 24 hours for me getting that deposit. And then I can ship it to you. We can meet up or whatever.
Remember, the 50%
50%
deposit.
deposit.
You ain't getting it.
I will not start without that 50% deposit.
All right. guess we're gonna end out.
That's fine.
All right. So
Thank you for joining
y'all
us.
say
Thank you for
Yeah.
having me. You can follow highqueen.shop at Instagram, HIDHQUEN.SHOP. But if you want to follow like me, Twix, personally, you can follow my personal page at Twix__love. That's TWIX, 2 underscores LOVE. Thank you.
Be professional. Send emails. Do not
Yes.
slide
No DMs, guys. No DMs.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thanks for showing all your artwork. Remember to always smoke with intention.
Yes.
And hit Twix up at her Instagram for whatever reason you want, for her showcases, for her ashtrays, for her book, and for her clothes. And we'll see you later.